This is CNN Philippines.
Affected tomorrow. First, it was postponed, and now it's officially canceled. After much controversy, the Commission on Elections is no longer pushing through with what was supposed to be its last presidential and vice presidential debates. Our Melissa Lopez joins us live from COMELEC's headquarters in Manila. Melissa, what will the poll body do next?
That's right, Pia. The Commission on Elections cancels the last leg of the Pilipinas Debates 2022, settling instead for sit-down interviews with candidates 14 days before the May 9 polls. Commissioner George Garcia cites scheduling conflicts with presidential and vice presidential bets, pushing the poll body to abandon the final debate rounds, which are already hanging in limbo since last week when Hotel Sofitel said it will no longer lend its Harbor Garden tent as the venue. Garcia says they deemed it best to pivot to one-on-one or tandem interviews as some candidates could not make it to the pre-scheduled debates on April 30 and May 1. Their calendars are already full, with that being the last weekend of the campaign period. The poll body sent out invitations for the sit-down sessions this morning and expects answers soon. Garcia says the COMELEC is more than willing to adjust to candidate schedules. Interviews may be taped either face-to-face or virtually and will run for an hour. These interviews will air from May 2nd to May 6th through member organizations of the Kapisanan ng mga Broadcaster ng Pilipinas or KBP. The debates were initially postponed and now called off because COMELEC's original partner, Vote Pilipinas, could not pick. These interviews will air from May 2nd to May 6th through member organizations of the Kapisanan ng mga Broadcaster ng Pilipinas. Commissioner Ray Bulay, a former state prosecutor, is heading the probe. He says 14 of 20 COMELEC departments filed written explanations before noon today, even units who had no part in the collapsed debates deal. Bulay says he will start reading voluminous documents submitted to his office today with the target to finish in a week.
Sana makainsak ako ng full cooperation from everyone. Iyawa Diyos siguro mga Friday, patawag ulit ako ng press con. Tapos I will make you aware of my findings and recommendation sa ANBAC. Pero one thing is sure, walang lumabas na single centavo from the Commission.
Garcia clarifies all COMELEC officials said to be involved in the failed debate deal are presumed to be innocent during the course of the probe. Back to you, Pia.
Mel, what else can we expect in that investigation?
Right after these submissions, Commissioner Bulay expects to field additional clarificatory questions to the departments to verify their claims or their accounts of what happened. After that, he will draft findings and recommendations, which will be submitted for the COMELEC and banks action. Now, they say this will not affect the final election preparations, but for Bulay, it's best for COMELEC to cut ties with Vote Pilipinas. Back to you.
Melissa Lopez there reporting live. Catch Commissioner Ray Bulay later on News.ph at 7 p.m. here on CNN Philippines. Meantime, the Ping Lacson-Tito Soto tandem says it will still find time to attend the COMELEC's panel interviews if they are taped as live. Presidential candidate Senator Lacson explaining they feel that the important things they said have been edited out in their taped interviews. Lacson's running mate, Senate President Tito Soto, praises the COMELEC for its decision that is more considerate of their prior commitments.
Mahirap yung may editing eh. Walang control. Maya-maya mo, yung mas magandang sinabi, yun ang na-edit. Palpak namin yun. Kung meron kami masabing hindi maganda, wag i-edit. Kaya lahat ng sasabihin, dapat nandun.
Giving us 1 hour, ay panel nila, ay good. That'll give us more time to explain and tell the people what we stand for, what our programs are, and what our track record says.
where hopefuls have answered questions on the most pressing issues the country is facing. So he appealed to the full body to give candidates enough time to present their platforms for one last time to help voters make an informed decision come May 9th. A group of Ilocanos and martial law abuse survivors is appealing the dismissal of its disqualification case against presidential candidate Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr., who Nonga Ilocano filed a partial motion for reconsideration before the Commonwealth Bank today, hoping for a reversal of the First Division's ruling to allow Marcos to run for president. The petitioner group, led by former COMELEC chairman Christian Monsod, cited the unused argument of former poll commissioner Rowena Guanzon that Marcos deliberately violated the law and committed moral turpitude after failing to file his annual income tax returns from 1982 to 1985. Just 14 days until the Filipino votes, Manila Mayor Isko Moreno addressed the switch in support of Maguindanao Representative Ismael Toto Mangudadatu from him to Vice President Leni Robredo. Mangudadatu was among those present when the United Bangsamoro Justice Party endorsed Robredo on her birthday on Saturday.
I fully support and understand him. That's how you understand your people. People change their mind. And in the likes of what we're doing right now. O, baka magbago ang isip ng iba. Diba? Sabi ko nga sa inyo, matigas man ang bulalo, lalambot din to.
Pasabi po ba siya ahead of time?
Yes, yes. Oh, desenting mama yun eh. Mga desente yun eh.
The UJP is the political party of the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. The endorsement is historic because it is the first time the MILF endorsed a presidential candidate. Big names in showbiz, such as Vice Ganda, also expressed support for Robredo during her birthday rally on Saturday, which organizers say drew in 412,000 supporters, but police only estimating 120,000 attendees. PBA legends and coaches such as Olsen Racela, Johnny Abarientos, and Jojo Lastimosa teamed up to back Robredo. The governor of the far-flung province of Batanes also endorsing the vice president. Batanes Governor Marilu Caico says Robredo showed up during the most difficult times in the province. Caico welcomed Robredo's daughter, Jillian, who was in Batanes to campaign for her mother. The Lacson Soto tandem is not changing campaign tactics, even if its rivals are able to draw huge crowds in rallies. Vice presidential candidate Tito Soto says they will retain their usual town hall meetings as they believe that banking on mere entertainment will not solve the country's problems.
Kahit anong laki ng rally mo, hindi mo naman narinig yung mga kababayan natin kung ano dinadaing nila. Puro rarara. Eh, walang mangyayari sa 6 na taon natin pagka ganun. Kailangan talaga, alam natin anong problema, alam natin anong hinihingi ng mga kababayan natin, at yun ang bigay natin na solusyon. That's where we stand.
Soto also belied rumors Senate Minority Leader Frank Drilon asked him to back out of the race. Soto says his colleague would never do that. Drilon is campaigning for Leni Robredo's presidential bid. Now, CNN Philippines is holding a series of one-on-one interviews with presidential candidates. First up for the In Private Presidential Interview series is Labor leader Calyodi de Guzman. He shared his plans for addressing contractualization, high prices, climate change, human rights violations, as well as having his family work for the government and the positive response to his campaign.
Ayaw ko nung meron akong kasamang pamilya sa dito sa gobyerno kasi tutol ako dun eh. Ayaw ko nung may mga kamag-anak na magkakaroon ng conflict of interest. Doon sa mga positive na pagsuporta nila doon sa aking plataforma at laban. Yun ang talagang hindi ko malimutan dahil nagpagaan sa akin na mas pagpursigihan pa yung aking kampanya para dito sa plataforma na siyang laban ng ating mga mamayan.
Catch the first In Private episode with De Guzman tonight at 8. Up next is former Senator Bongbong Marcos, who shared his thoughts on prices and jobs, health, agriculture, tourism, and more. Catch that tomorrow also at 8 in the evening here on CNN Philippines. Voters can now look up their polling centers for May 9 through COMELEC's online precinct finder, but some were surprised that their status was deactivated even if they voted in the last elections. Cian Arcangel lays down the next steps they should take to fix their records.
Mark Lester Abeleda filed his leave early so he can go home to Occidental Mindoro on May 9 and vote. In the midst of preparing for his trip, Abeleda was surprised to find out his voter status was deactivated on the COMELEC's online precinct finder. Abeleda says he voted in both the 2016 and 2019 elections, while his mother never missed voting even in barangay elections.
Nakaka-worry kasi yung kapatid ko, okay naman siya. So, paano kami nung mother ko hindi? So, ayun, medyo confusing lang to sa part na yun.
Glea Garcia was also puzzled to find out that her voter's record was deactivated even if she voted in the 2019 midterm elections.
I even search yung sa family ko nga. Yung sa parents ko, sa mga siblings ko. Actually, they are all active. Yung nalungkot na, bakit? Ba't ganun? Bakit ako? Ba't ako lang?
Registered voters can check their voters' records through the website voterverifier.comelec.gov.ph. For voters in the Philippines, choose local Philippines as the location, while those registered abroad should click the overseas label. You will then be asked to type in your full name and the area where you registered as a voter. Click search to see the location of your precinct, the precinct number, and voter status. In an interview on CNN Philippines, COMELEC spokesperson Director James Jimenez said voters can email the COMELEC to correct any wrong information that appears on the online precinct finder.
Kung hindi kayo sang-ayon dun sa resultang ibinabalik, halimbawa, sinabi niya deactivated kayo, and you think hindi naman kayo dapat deactivated, pwede naman po kayong sumulat sa COMELEC, no? Sumulat lang kayo sa itd@comelec.gov.ph, bigay niyo ang inyong full name, date of birth, at yung city or municipality kung saan kayo nakapagparehistro.
Jimenez says voters can also get in touch with their local election officer to verify their record. Despite some glitches, Abeleda still finds the online precinct finder useful.
Sana ma-update na nila ngayon kasi ang lapit na ng election, so more and more people ang magse-search nung precinct number nila.
Both Abeleda and Garcia have reached out to the COMELEC. They hope to have their voters' records fixed before Election Day. Cian Arcangel, CNN Philippines.
Coming up on Newsnight, motorists are bracing for yet another fuel price hike tomorrow, and a number of hospitals in Metro Manila start administering the fourth COVID-19 dose. Details right here on CNN Philippines. Welcome back to Newsnight. The quest to wipe out COVID-19 enters another phase. Over 690,000 Filipinos with weak immune systems can get a second booster shot beginning today. Carolyn Bonkin makes the rounds of hospitals in Metro Manila where the second booster dose is being administered.
After dialysis, Teresita Bravo went straight to get a second booster against COVID-19. As a nursing attendant with chronic kidney disease, upping her protection against the virus is a must to avoid hospitalization and complications.
Mas maganda na kasi big sabihin safe ka na. Hindi ganun ka-risk yung makukuha mo.
Teresita is among the first batch who got a second booster shot on Monday, although the FDA has approved it for people with weak immunity, senior citizens, and healthcare workers. The health department has only given a go signal for persons with underlying illnesses like HIV and cancer, transplant recipients, and bedridden patients. Vaccinees should have the first booster shot for at least 3 months. At the Philippine Children's Medical Center in Quezon City, health workers with underlying illness got the second booster, but this will also be offered to other sick people.
Medyo madami yung naibigay sa aming vials. Ibubuksan namin ito sa mga kamag-anak ng aming mga healthcare workers na merong immunocompromising kondisyon. Pwede rin naming buksan sa publiko na may mga ganong kondisyon.
At Dr. Jose Rodriguez Memorial Hospital in Caloocan City, there were only 9 vaccinees with underlying illness for the rollout. So they opened the vaccination to other healthcare workers.
Maraming vaccines ang binigay, so we have no choice but to extend the vaccination to non-immunocompromised population para hindi lang masayang yung vaccines.
Kung meron na tayong healthcare workers who have had their first booster, then okay lang po iyon. We all know that they will be the ones next in line after this round.
The medical director says offering another booster is timely as many of their health workers already have declining protection against the viral infection. Among them, senior citizen and hospital staff Clarita Taktak.
Kailangan po sa trabaho din namin mas lalo ngayon nagkakaroon ulit ng surge. 64 na pa naman ako.
Healthcare workers are also making rounds to give additional booster to bedridden patients. Valenzuela Medical Center and Sembo Health Center in Makati City also offered the second booster on Monday. Other vaccination sites will follow in the coming days. Caroline Bonkin, CNN Philippines.
There are about the Mariano Marcos Memorial Hospital and Medical Center in Ilocos Norte has also started administering the 4th dose to immunocompromised healthcare workers. Now, over in China, officials are describing the fresh outbreak as urgent and grim. Harsh quarantine restrictions are also taking a toll on Filipinos, especially those in Shanghai. The Philippine consulate says 15 are currently quarantined and getting treated in several health facilities. Labor officials say Manila is extending assistance to Filipinos there.
Nagpapadala tayo ng pagkain, medisina sa kanila, and as soon as ma-identify natin sila upon instruction of DFA, we will give them the usual grant of $200 per OFW.
Meron na tayong effort to address yung kanilang mental wellness concerns or even physical wellness concerns. We will be providing the funds and also as directed by Secbelio para magkaroon na ng tulong, ayuda yung mga OFWs natin sa Shanghai.
There are about 4,000 Filipinos in Shanghai, many of whom are working as teachers, nurses, and domestic workers. A number of them already want to fly home. Now, back here at home, heads up for motorists. You might want to gas up tonight as another big-time pump price hike is set tomorrow. Caltex, Clean Fuel, Flying V, Petrogas, Phoenix Petroleum, PTT Philippines, Sea Oil, Total, Unioil, and Petron will raise diesel prices by a hefty 4 pesos and 10 centavos a liter. The same fuel firms will jack up gasoline prices by 3 pesos per liter, while Caltex, Flying V, Sea Oil, and Petron will impose a 3 peso and 50 centavo increase for every liter of kerosene. More stories ahead. The schedule of matches for the PBA 3x3 second conference finals is out, and in music, another BTS member lends his voice to a K-drama soundtrack. Details when we come back here in Newsnight.
LGO.
From a record-breaking crowd of 412,000 to big-name celebrity endorsements,
hindi po namin sinasamba si Leni Robredo. Siya po ay aming sinasamahan sapagkat sinasamahan niya ang sambayanang Pilipino.
Madlang people! Sa gabi nito, opisyal kong ini-endorso ang susunod na Pangulo ng Republika ng Pilipinas, Leni Robredo!
Vice President Leni Robredo's birthday last Saturday was indeed a party, attended by a huge crowd crying for a change in government come May 9th. Robredo reminded supporters not to stop fighting against fake news in light of reports that Communist Party of the Philippines founder Jose Maria Sison was advising her, reports that both Sison and Robredo's camp denied.
Huwag din tayong mapagod sa paglaban sa fake news. Yun po yung pagkukulang ko din nung nakaraang 6 years.
Before the grand party in Pasay City, Robredo received the endorsement of the United Bangsamoro Justice Party, the political vehicle of the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, in a ceremony in Camp Darapanan in Maguindanao Province. Senator Manny Pacquiao, meanwhile, held his own gathering of believers in San Juan City. Among those who attended, his wife Jinky and his mother Junisha. A few days ago, Pacquiao and MNLF founding chairman Nur Miswari had a photo where Miswari raised Pacquiao's hand. The MNLF clarified it has not endorsed Pacquiao. Bongbong Marcos returned to Manila. The bailiwick of his rival, Isko Moreno Domagoso. Marcos won big in the city in his 2016 vice presidential run against Robredo, and he hopes to replicate that feat. Marcos also campaigned for his mayoral bet, Alex Lopez.
Hello, Patrick.
Manila Mayor Isko Moreno's children, Patrick and Frances, made house-to-house campaigns and market runs in Noveleta, Cavite. They also went on a motorcade near the area. Meanwhile, presidential candidate Norberto Gonzales barnstormed Bohol, where he visited the Diocese of Tacloban and appealed for the clergy to remain non-partisan. Paulo Barcelon, CNN Philippines.
Welcome back to CNN Philippines. For PBA fans, we're just 2 days away from the 3x3 second conference grand finals at the Inares Sports Arena in Pasig City. Here's a look at Wednesday's matches. Barangay Ginebra will take on Platinum Karaoke first to determine the last seeded team. Then the quarterfinals will kick off with the Limitless App Masters facing Pioneer Pro Tibay. Stay tuned for the finals at 6:30 p.m. Games were originally scheduled for last Wednesday, but a fire at the Smart Araneta Coliseum in Cubao pushed the date to a week later. And trending online, Jimin of BTS released his first song for a K-drama soundtrack. Former One member Ha Sung-woon joined Jimin on With You, which debuted on episode 6 of the show Our Blues. Here's a snippet of the song that's gone viral.
Just take it all. I'm nothing without your love. I promise I'll never leave your love.
Korean media reports With You broke the record for fastest song to reach #1 on iTunes, in 100 countries at under 5 hours. And that is it for tonight. Join me again on News.ph at 7 p.m. I'm Pia Ontiveros for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
Radio Philippines Network. Radio Philippines Network. DX General Santos. DX General Santos. Una sa balita. Una sa balita. Musika ug kalingawan. Mas tulong pinalakas. Radyo.
Mga katikaran sa Sarangani Province.
Phase 2 sa padaing pagpasemento sa Calabanet Aligado Farm to Market Road sa Glan, Sarangani Province, pagasugdan na sa musunod nga mga inadlaw ni balor og dolan 250 million pesos. LGU Sarangani gikumpirma nga nakahagdaw pud og pondo para masimento ang dalan sa Pait Alegria Alabel ni kantidad og kapin 178 million pesos. Upland Barangay nga daan Suyan Malapatan gibuhusan usab og 40 million pesos nga mga proyekto. Padayong nagmaya karon ang mga taga Malapatan, Sarangani Province, partikularmente ang Upland Barangay nga daan Suyan, gumikan baguhay lang gi-groundbreaking ang mga dagko nila nga proyekto bisan pa man sa nagsing-abot nga May 9 election. Gisugdan na atong bulan sa Pebrero ang pagpasemento sa ilang dalan nga nagkonekta sa Barangay Apersuyan o Barangay Kinam. May pondo nga 30 milyones ka pesos gikan sa sulong infrastruktura program ni Governor Steve Chongbian Solon, katambayayong sila Vice Governor Elmer de Peralta o mga board member. Sigon nila Assistant Provincial Administrator Engineer Gerald Fasiol o Assistant Provincial Engineer Elmer Henko. Kompleto na kini sa box culvert, konkretong line kanal o mga warning signal susamang makita sa mga national highway. Sugda na usab ang pagpatindog sa ilang bagong barangay hall ni balor og 5 milyones ka pesos gikan sa LGU Malapatan sa pagdumala nila Mayor John Sumbo, Vice Mayor Jen de los Santos ug mga konsihal. Sugda na pod ang pagpabarog sa ilang barangay gymnasium pangunahan sa DPWH Sarangani ni kantidad og laing 5 milyones ka pesos gikan sa opisina ni Congressman Roel Pacquiao kaabag si Senador Manny Pacquiao. Daghan pang mudangat nga mga kaayuhan sa mga kabarangayan. Magkugi lang ang mga barangay official sa pagpabalo sa ilang munisipyo o kapitolyo. Mapasalamaton sila Mayor Sombo, Vice Mayor de los Santos, bisan na sila Municipal Councilor Elvira Upong o Chief of Staff Attorney Ryan Ramos sa tanang opisyalis ug katawhan nga nagtinabangay aron maangkon ang dugay ng gipangandoy nga mga kaayuhan. Apil lang ngadto sa pamilyang Sigafo ni na Kapitan Elizalde Sigafo ug uban pang pamilya nga nagdunar sa maluna kabutangan sa maong mga infrastruktura. Sa pikas nga bahin gikumpirma ni Engineer Alain Alcala, ang Provincial Planning and Development Coordinator sa probinsya sa Sarangani, nga nagpaabot na lang sila karon kanus asugdan ang ikaduhang bahin o Phase 2 sa pagpasimento sa Farm to Market Road nga nagkonekta sa Barangay Calabanet o Barangay Aligado sa lungsod sa Glan hapit 250 million pesos. Gipunduhan sa PRDP World Bank unang nasemento kini tuig 2019 ni danggan og 40 million ka pesos sulod sa sobra 4 ka kilometros. Gihan ay nalang karon sa PPDO Sarangani ang ubang requisito permisos o ang sertifikasyon gikan sa NCIP aron masugdan na ang padayong pagpasemento. Samtang gikumpirma gihapon sa labaw sa PPDO Sarangani nga aprobado na sa level sa Regional Board sa PRDP ang pondo og sobra 178 million pesos para masumpayan ang Farm to Market Road gikan sa Barangay Alegria padulong sa Pait, Alabel. Aminado si Engineer Alcala nga kung saligan ang salapi sa Kapitolyo, maglisod gyud kini nga masemento tungod sa limitadong pondo. Apan adunay PRDP World Bank matud pa nga gaalalay og sakto sa liderato ni Governor Solon. Diya si Sarangani PPDO Head Engineer Alain Alcala og Malapatan Mayor June Sombo.
Naanapod tayo nasungkit amounting to 178 million plus para ni sa concreting of Alegria Pait Farm to Market Road. With this amount, mo-cover ni siya og more than 9 kilometers of concreting from junction Alegria Provincial Road going toward Sitio Pait. Before, naatay nakuha dari under phase 1, Ilaya Aligado section. Sumpay ni siya ana nga project.
Ang atong mga proyekto nga nabot ka rin wala nato ni kina-expect no. Simple nga pagpahatag lang nga mga proposals. Wa po na mo kina-expect nga inana ka dakong suporta ang atong probinsya. Particularly ang ato ang provincial office ni Governor Steve Solon. Ang suporta niya lalo na karon nga pagsumpay sa atong concreting road worth 30 million. At the same time napa na say allocated diha kinahanglan maabot kun nato ang dalan paingon og Barangay Kinam, Barangay Aprasuyan, which is kana mga barangay pila na kada nga naghandom mo dalan. So karon natuman na gyud. As of now, naatay mga barangay hall, naatay mga covered court. So funded ka na ikan sa congressional office, ikan ka na kay sa office po sa atong Senator Manny Pacquiao. And of course, balikon ako sa opisina sa atong pinanggaan ng Governor Steve Solon.
Mga katikaran sa Sarangani Province.
RPN Radio Philippines Network. Radyo Ronda DX General Santos. Member, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
Mas tulong lakas, Radyo Ronda Nationwide.
This is CNN Philippines.
I'm sure many of you would agree that you feel more confident when your skin is healthy and glowing. But taking care of your skin is more than just looking good. Your skin is your first line of defense against the outside world. This means that the healthier it is, the better it can protect you from bacteria, viruses, damaging UV rays, extreme temperatures, and even more. Today's program is a guide to taking care of your skin so that it can take care of you. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and welcome to MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. Our guest is here today to tell us the do's and don'ts of skincare. With us is Dr. Martha Joy Bruan Tapales. She's a dermatologist from MD Derma Skin Clinic and the Rizal Medical Center. When you think of the skin, normally people don't associate it as the largest organ in the body, but it actually is, and it does so many things. Let's start the discussion with that. Why is our skin so important, and what are some of the important things that our skin does for us every day?
The skin forms a physical barrier between your body and the external environment. It also controls the inward and outward passage of water to prevent your skin from drying. And at the same time, it also protects the body from external stresses such as harmful chemical, allergens, and pathologic organisms. And if by any chance our skin gets infected by bacteria or viruses, the skin have its own mechanism to handle this infection.
A lot of people might think that our skin is there, and then when we take a shower, wash our clothes, we are devoid or wala na tayong kailangan pag-isipang germs or bacteria. Is this the case, Doc Martha?
We actually have something we call the normal flora. It's a different mixture of bacteria, fungi that keeps our skin protected. At the same time, the skin also detects stresses or invading microorganisms. And once it does, it has its own mechanism. It has its own soldiers to protect the skin from the microorganism.
One thing I'd like to start off with is acne because this is very common. It affects people in many different ways. Pag sinabing acne, Dr. Martha, what is it? What causes it?
Actually, most of the time, people would think when they have acne, they just need to use a certain kind of products. But once you have acne, that means you need to address it because it's pathologic. It's not really something na meron kang ginagawang mali. What causes acne is first, the skin gets, the stratum corneum of the epidermis, the first layer of the skin, tends to get a little stickier. So hindi sila natatanggal regularly every month. Because in a normal individual, an individual without acne, we usually exfoliate every 30 days. But when you have acne, the epidermal turnover or the shedding of the dead skin cells, hindi nangyayari. And then second, since hindi nga nagsished yung skin, the dirt, the bacteria clogs your pores, so there's an inflammation ongoing.
When we take good care of our skin, we allow it to function at its best. But sometimes, we may not know some of our habits are actually harming it. Dr. Martha, pag-usapan natin yon. What do we do in our day-to-day that may cause damage to our skin?
Well, first of all, when you don't follow your skincare routine, you skip on washing your face at night. Syempre, may mga iba, when they're tired, they prefer to sleep na lang with their makeup on or with their sunscreen on, with all the dirt that the environment gave them. So that's one. And then another skin routine that most people forget is sunscreen application in the morning. Kasi feeling nila, especially when it's raining or when it's cloudy, they think we don't need sunscreen anymore. So that's that's one of the reasons we harm our skin. Second is smoking because it affects blood flow. It limits the blood flow of your skin when few blood reaches the skin. So there's little oxygen or fewer nutrients to nourish your skin. Also, when we have pimples, pop them. There's a big chance that you will form scarring.
Building a proper skincare routine doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. Is there any truth to that, Dr. Martha?
The viewers just need to remember to stick with the basic, which is cleaning, moisturizing, and sun protection.
Now, a tip to our viewers, give your product some time before expecting results, as skincare isn't an easy fix. Now, skincare is a very personal experience, and knowing your skin type can go a long way in addressing issues like acne as well as dark spots. But there are some conditions that might need extra attention. More on this when we return. You're watching MedTalk Health Talk, your partner in healthcare.
SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement, gama sa Davao para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement, ato ni Bay. This is CNN Philippines.
I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and welcome back to MedTalk Health Talk, where your care always comes first. Sometimes, our skin might have some specific concerns like redness, sometimes drying, or sometimes even some oozing. Now, one of the most common skin conditions that could trigger these symptoms is atopic dermatitis. It occurs mostly in children, but it can affect adults as well. Now, an estimated 18 million adults are living with it today. Dr. Martha, tell us more about this condition, atopic dermatitis.
It is a chronic inflammatory skin disease primarily beginning in childhood. Itch is the hallmark symptom of the disease, which is severe in some cases, that can lead to sleep disturbance and can cause excoriated, infection-prone skin. Patients with atopic dermatitis often have atopic comorbidities such as allergic rhinitis or asthma, bronchial asthma.
What are some of the more common conditions where atopic dermatitis would flare up?
The baseline of the skin of an atopic patient is already sensitive since atopic dermatitis is associated with a decreased type of lipids, which is ceramide. There's a variety of products or situation that can trigger the flare-up of atopic dermatitis. One of which is not applying your moisturizer. Like what I said, atopic dermatitis has a problem with a decrease in ceramide content, which is a very important type of lipid on our skin. So when you don't moisturize, you don't replace this lost lipid, and your skin tends to lose more water and it gets drier.
Let's talk about contact dermatitis naman, Dr. Martha. What is contact dermatitis? Anong pagkakaiba nito with atopic dermatitis?
They're both eczema. Eczema is a general term we use in describing inflammatory skin condition. These are the condition that presents with red skin. There's a problem. There's an innate problem with your skin. There's a decrease in a certain lipid that protects your skin from increased water loss. Now, in contact dermatitis, another form of eczema, it is brought about by a certain allergen that sensitizes your skin. Usually, patients with contact dermatitis, they get to be exposed with their allergen for the first time. It wouldn't do anything, but on their second exposure, that's the time your contact dermatitis would appear.
Another skin condition here that is fairly prevalent in the Philippines is psoriasis. Can you talk more about psoriasis, Dr. Martha?
The eczema usually appears on certain part of the body, which is pathognomonic for psoriasis or very classic presentation. Now, like atopic dermatitis, sometimes patient would have a problem with their genes that would lead to the formation of psoriasis. But most of the time, appearance of psoriasis in most of the patients, it's idiopathic or spontaneous.
Now, Dr. Martha, for those who are living with atopic dermatitis, contact dermatitis, or even psoriasis, what's the best advice that you can give them?
Consult your dermatologist so that they can discuss your condition, since these three would sometimes or would most of the time look the same, and your doctor or your dermatologist would help you understand your condition. Basically, for atopic and psoriasis is moisturizing your skin, because your skin gets to get irritated when it gets dry. For contact dermatitis, definitely, I think after you diagnose that you have or you have suspicion that you have contact dermatitis, you undergo patch testing, so you would know and you would identify your allergen and then avoid the allergen.
Now, while living with these conditions can be challenging, it doesn't have to affect a person's quality of life. Eating healthy, exercising daily, and getting enough rest are small lifestyle choices that can help you cope with these conditions and improve your overall well-being. Thank you very much, Dr. Martha Joy Bruan Tapales, for being with us today and helping us understand our skin even more. Caring for your skin might look a little different if it's sensitive. When we return, we'll give you tips to best manage dryness, itchy skin, eczema, and much more. Your health is our mission here on MedTalk Health Talk. We'll be right back.
Libreng tambal ug hospital. Trabaho tabang sa mga kakinahanglan.
May nagawa na, may magagawa pa. Sino ka pa? Only Binay.
Para senador.
Numero 11 sa balota.
Iboto Binay for Senator.
Political ad paid for and by Una, 117 Rada Street, Makati.
This is CNN Philippines.
I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and this is MedTalk Health Talk. Skincare is part of a healthy lifestyle. In fact, starting your morning with your skincare routine can set the tone for the rest of the day. But we all have different skin types, and each of us have unique needs. Let's talk about the most effective ways to manage sensitive skin and help you feel your best. Joining us for this discussion is Dr. Marivi Dizon. She's a dermatologist and a board director for the Asian Society of Pediatric Dermatology. Also with us is Dr. Ira Anwar, who is a skin health scientist from Johnson & Johnson. Welcome to the show, doctors. Many people will say that their skin is sensitive because of maybe adverse reactions to different products, or maybe even because of certain allergies. Now, Dr. Dizon, what do doctors look for them to say that someone has sensitive skin?
When we speak of sensitive skin, that means the person's skin is more reactive to what will trigger a sign or a symptom of it being very itchy, burning sensation, tingling sensation, amongst others. So now I talked about itchy skin. And this is where we try to figure out where is this sensitive skin problem emanating from. And therefore, we look now at what type of sensitive skin the patient or the person has. I will just hone in more into the low barrier type of sensitive skin and normal skin that has accompanying underlying skin conditions that's causing redness. Those skin that has eczema, the patient having atopic dermatitis, an allergic skin condition, eczema in general.
Okay, so definitely so many factors that doctors have to look at indeed for sensitive skin. But I do think that genetics can play a role in whether you'll develop some of these skin conditions. But there are also a number of external factors that can affect it. Dr. Dizon, when we're talking about external factors, what are some of these?
The environmental trigger would be, it's going to be hot, it's going to be humid, and the impact of that would be on the skin, on the person who will naturally sweat. Now, the sweat is one of the notorious triggers, especially in our territory. So that sweat, serving as an irritant on already sensitive skin, will already cause a reaction of it becoming red and eczematous. There are also the pollutants, and that too will create that symptom or that sign of having sensitive skin. And other external factors is harsh cleansers, because they have very high pH, amongst others. They also have components that are natural allergens, top allergens in amongst products. That also will cause a reaction on the skin.
And as a reminder to our viewers, if you think you have sensitive skin, you have to consult your dermatologist for the proper diagnosis, because each skin type is unique. Now, if you're diagnosed to have sensitive skin, you will be required to undergo proper management. Dr. Anwar, what happens if sensitive skin is not addressed properly or not treated? How can it impact a person's quality of life?
We actually have strong data showing that sensitive skin has an impact on one's quality of life. So this includes the lack of sleep because of the itch-scratch cycle that may happen at night, or even being unable to do simple household chores, like washing the dishes, because very often dishwashing soap, for example, could be too harsh for those with sensitive skin. So all of these issues really do add up to have an impact on a person's quality of life.
Very good. Now, a vital aspect of managing sensitive skin includes daily moisturizing. Dr. Anwar, why do we need to moisturize? And could you tell us if indeed we look for moisturizers out, or we buy them? What are some of the ingredients to look out for of a quality moisturizer?
So regular moisturization is important to maintain healthy skin, whether you have sensitive skin or not. So if the skin is dry and itchy and you're scratching away, this makes it easier for irritants to pass through your skin. So by regularly moisturizing the skin, it is able to repair and moisturize the skin barrier and creates the best environment for healthy skin. And when it comes to buying moisturizers, we should look for key ingredients that's known and also effective. So colloidal oatmeal, for example, we know that it's able to protect and also moisturize the skin as it increases the water retention in the skin. We can also have oat extract that helps to soothe and relieve dry, itchy skin. Also coming from oat is oat oil. So oat oil actually reduces skin water loss and restores the skin barrier. And of course, another ingredient to look out for is ceramides, because this is really true for eczema-prone skin or atopic dermatitis, whereby there is a loss of ceramides, which is an important component of the skin barrier. And by using a moisturizer with ceramides, it helps to strengthen the skin's natural barrier by replacing the loss of ceramides in eczema-prone skin.
Since we're talking about eczema-prone skin and eczema in general, are there any recommended type of creams, especially for those living with eczema?
With eczema-prone skin, it is also known to have an imbalanced skin microbiome with an increase in a harmful bacteria. So due to this imbalanced microbiome, this is why it would be important to use a prebiotic moisturizing ingredient such as colloidal oatmeal that moisturizes and relieves the symptoms of eczema-prone skin.
Apart from moisturizing, which is we all know now is very important, there are also a few lifestyle changes that can make a huge difference, especially in reducing flare-ups and improving your skin. Dr. Dizon, can you give us some tips?
All of us need to bathe daily, and good cleansers that have the colloidal oatmeal that's going to be protective and repairing for that sensitive skin. You need to moisturize on a regular basis. And what's important is that you don't scrub your skin while bathing. Then you need to have a well-balanced diet and stay hydrated. And lastly, if you see that something is going wrong, that skin is becoming itchy, you have to go to your doctor, a dermatologist, or a pediatric dermatologist. That would be the best way to take care of your skin.
Thank you very much, dermatologist Dr. Mary V. Dizon and skin health scientist Dr. Ira Anwar, for being with us today. We definitely learned a lot about our skin health. Remember, taking the time to cleanse and moisturize every day can do wonders for your skin and in turn, your overall well-being. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez and we'll see you again next time.